What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Rip'n Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Rip'n Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Multiverse broadcasting system initiated.
Lasers.
Multiverse connection established.
Lasers.
Hello.
Multiverse connection secure.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
This is My Life DIY, and
hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rip'n Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to DarkWolf's Den.
The DarkWolf's Den Show on Rip'n Common Sense Radio.
Are ghosts real?
We had 1,000 hours of continuous communication with the spirit world.
Does time travel actually exist?
The laws of physics seem to be compatible with time machines.
You know, sometimes I wonder about reincarnation. Don't you?
A 4-year-old boy in Adelaide, Australia, has told his parents that he used to be Britain's Princess Diana.
What would happen if the world found out that aliens were real?
I didn't say disclosure would be easy, but what is the alternative?
To establish a space force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
We have so many questions and yet so little time, so to have you here, the pleasure is all mine.
Coming to you from a secret cave, hidden deep within the wilderness. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live across the multiverse from a secret cave hidden deep within the wilderness of Tennessee. That's right, we're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, tearing through the atmosphere, and tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, August 19th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, last week you remember AJ covered the Flying Spaghetti Monster. This week we're going to go over the Aetherius Society. So if you happen to be shopping for a new religion, perhaps this will be right up your alley. It's got a lot of different things we've heard of kind of tied together in a mishmash of a very young religion. We're going to go over all that and more here in just a moment. But first, today in history. I got a today in history today for all of my sports fans out there. That's right, on this day in 1909, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway officially opens its doors in Speedway, Indiana. This is, of course, the home of the automobile race, the Indianapolis 500, every year. That was on this day in 1909. And that is today's Today in History. And some of these sports guys, let's be honest, they take it to a very religious level, right? Some of these sports guys are so religious, they go to games every single Sunday, or races, or some kind of sporting event, right? Those are some of the most dedicated guys I know. And speaking of dedicated, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our next segment.
Say what?
Our quote of the day today comes from Lily Tomlin. She says, and I quote, "Why is it that when we talk to God, we are said to be praying, but when God talks to us, we're schizophrenic?" End quote. Ladies and gentlemen, that is once again the great actress Lily Tomlin. And that is today's segment of
Say What?
And before we dive into tonight's topic, quick shout out over to the chat room on YouTube. Of course, if you're listening on the radio, you can come over to YouTube to either the DarkWolf's Den Show YouTube channel or the Rippin' Rabbit Hole YouTube channel. That is RIPON Rabbit Hole YouTube channel. And quick shout out over there to the first person in the room tonight, which was Terry Taggart. Says, can't wait. I can't wait either, Terry, to dig into this information. It is absolutely intriguing, to say the least. And a real quick shout out to everybody over there in the YouTube chat rooms, like Terry Taggart over in the DarkWolf's Den Show chat room, also over there. Terry Taggart, welcome to both sides of the show, of course. Over in Rippin' Rabbit Hole, we got Mandani Mull. Sandy B, great to see you, Sandy B. Michael Fontaine, did I mess up the date again? I'm really bad about doing that. I've got to work on getting that date right. I do apologize, guys. Zero watching now. Can you guys hear me over there? Are we having some issues on that YouTube over there? If so, I do apologize. Michael Fontaine in the house. Great to see you, Michael Fontaine. Again, Errol over there. I do hope once again that this broadcast is going out to both channels. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I appreciate every last one of you guys being here in both the chats, as well as all of those that are listening and not chatting. We appreciate every last one of you here, as well as everybody on demand. And I am so glad to have every last one of you guys here. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be able to do these shows for you guys every single week. Quick disclaimer before we get really deep into the information. Just because I present something here does not necessarily mean that I believe it. This information is for your information only. Just because I present religious information does not mean that I back or support said religious information. With that said, let's dig into the Aetherius Society. This is quite a younger religion that has just been started in the 1950s by a guy named George King. Who was George King?
Before you founded the Aetherius Society, what was your occupation?
I was a taxi driver.
I see. How old are you now?
40.
So you founded it when you were 37?
Yes, that's right. You see, I had quite an amazing experience one Saturday morning while I was washing up some dishes. I had a voice, quite definitely a voice out of this world, say to me, "Prepare yourself, you are to become the voice of interplanetary parliament."
I would like to note that this was in the 1950s when alien visitation was actually a quite culturally accepted phenomenon.
Soon after this, I had a physical visitation from a member of the cosmic hierarchy, if you like, who gave me certain instructions. I obeyed these instructions to the letter, and later on, I found I could contact intelligences from other planets.
So much like Scientology, this is actually an alien religion.
This visitation that you describe, what happened?
Well, it was quite physical. I was sat in a room, and a man walked through a locked door.
Now, there are many cases of abduction where the person claims that the aliens came right through the wall or right through solid objects, so this particular part of the case file actually isn't outside of the realm of what we find quite often, once again, in abduction case files.
Across the carpet on the floor, and he was quite physical. When he crossed the boards, they creaked, and he sat down opposite to me and began to talk to me.
I see. He had a body and a face just like anybody else.
He was as physical as you are now.
Once again, having read a ton of abduction case files, this is not out of the realm of possibility as far as being solid, even though they walked through a solid object.
Where did he in fact come from?
He is a man who is living in northern India at the moment, but he came from another planet. I believe it was Venus.
If anyone knows the story of Valiant Thor, which we may cover sometime soon on this channel, he also claimed to have been from Venus.
Now, when he came into your room through the locked door with this ordinary physical body, did he resemble any other human inhabitant of this planet, or?
Yes, he would have been taken for an Indian, I think.
I see. And this was the body which he has when he's on Venus as well?
No, this was a special body he used when he was on this Earth.
What happens to it when he's not here?
I think he is capable of breaking up the atomic structure and cellular structure and reforming another body when he goes back to Venus again.
That is not something that is common to most UFO cases, abduction cases, or anything of the sort. As a matter of fact, that is the only one I've ever heard make such an interesting claim.
Now, he gave you some instructions which you followed. Could you describe them?
I'm sorry I couldn't.
I see.
Now, as wild and far out as this is really starting to sound, I do know a person personally, that claims that there were some orbs in the sky that came down and spoke to them and gave them a very specific list of messages. They did tell me these messages. I'm not going to put it out there. That's their information to put as they see fit. But this person did say a lot like the same things that I'm hearing here.
But as a result of those, you became a channel for the transmission of messages from cosmic intelligence.
Yes, that's right.
So after his initial meeting, Apparently, due to his yogic or yogi practices, he had spiritually cleansed himself enough to become a channeler of this information from the cosmic intelligence, end quote.
You have a title which you've been given in this respect.
Yes, the space people refer to me as Mental Channel Number 1.
And of course, one would assume that that is because he's the first of many mental channelers of information from space aliens, or the cosmic intelligence once again. However, that isn't the reason.
And they send their messages directly through you as a rule?
They do, yes. I think I've received more messages from the space people than any other person on Earth at the moment.
Yes. It's quite fitting under those circumstances that you should have founded the society.
Fitting, yes, but I would say more along the lines of a very interesting coincidence, if you guys know what I mean. It's really worrisome that this is the only person that can channel information from the supposed masters of spirituality. Quite convenient, if you will.
You did this for what purpose?
Well, I wanted to make known this great truth that I was receiving. I wanted all the world to know about it, so I founded the Aetherius Society so that this could be brought about.
Now, in addition to the messages which you receive in a trance state,
and most channelers claim to go into this trance state like a lot of mediums do and be able to communicate with something that is outside of this world. Now, I'm on the fence when it comes to channeling, so I want to know what you guys think. Do you think that people like George King can channel information from space aliens beyond this world, or something beyond this world, whether it's aliens or demons or whatever your taste may be as far as the word to use to what is being described? But do you believe that channeling is possible, that one could channel information? Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat room if you think it's possible. Go ahead and put a 2 in the chat room if you think it's just a person's imagination making stuff up. And put a 3 in the chat room if you're like me and completely on the fence about it.
Do you receive visitors from outer space in person?
I have met people from outer space.
You've met people from Saturn?
I've met people from Saturn, Mars, and Venus, yes.
At least he has met people who may have claimed to be from each of these planets.
Tell me what someone from Saturn looks like.
Well, the particular person I met was a man. He was average height, dark hair, fairly broadish. He had no pupils to the eyes, very, very large hands, but very, very small feet.
I don't know about you guys, but that sounds quite cartoony to me, if you will. But what do you guys think about the channeling over there in the chat? Let's see what we have over here in the YouTube chat rooms. We've got My Life DIY with a 111. We've got AJ the Rippin' Rabbit over there with a 1. That's in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole chat. Over in the DarkWolf's Den Show chat, we've got Terry Taggart with a 1, as well as JoJo's, who believes that channeling is 100% real with those 1s. Sandy B with the 333 on the fence, just like me. That's right. Darius Munchausen with a 2. No, don't really so much believe that it's quite that possible. And I respect all of these. I appreciate everybody a little more rounded out than I thought the answers would be. Darius Munchausen says, I say 2, but I'm still curious. There we go. Always stay curious. AJ the Riffin' Rabbit says, I never met anyone from Saturn. Met a woman once from Venus, though. There you go.
When they come to visit the Earth, how do they get here?
They come to Earth in the vehicles that we refer to as flying saucers.
You've seen one of these, have you?
Oh, I've seen a couple of hundred, I suppose.
Close up?
Quite close, yes, some of them.
What do they look like?
Well, they look rather like 2 saucers put together with a dome on the top, and they have portholes. And when you see them at night, they glow a golden color.
So, of course, this would be your classic UFO.
What are they made of?
A metal which is may be described, I think, as organic metal.
What does organic metal mean? I'm sorry.
Well, it has a living cellular structure, rather as a human has a living cellular structure that constitutes his body.
That reminds me a lot of the TARDIS from Doctor Who. They say TARDISes are grown, not created, right? Yes, I am a Whovian for all my Doctor Who fans out there. But on a serious note, though, this isn't really, once again, out of the realm of what I've heard in other cases, mainly from the military-industrial complex cases, a lot of the insider whistleblower stuff. But I have heard of this type of cellular metal, as well as a threaded metal, but we now know threaded metal is Kevlar. I wonder where that concept come from. But anyway, that's aside from the point. So now that we've heard all about the different types of aliens and the way they travel and all that and how they communicate, what truths mentioned earlier were given to Mr. George King?
They have messages that they feel must be transmitted through you. What are these messages about?
Well, they stress the dangers of atomic experimentation.
And if you remember, in the 1950s, there was a lot of atomic and experimentation going on, especially around the Bikini Atoll area.
And also turn back to what they call the laws which are God, if we are to survive on this earth.
What kind of laws are they actually postulating?
Well, the laws as laid down by Jesus and Buddha, Krishna, and other great teachers who came to the earth to lead us throughout the ages.
So that their message has a strong religious content of a kind similar to that contained in the various religious teachings of the world.
Oh, yes, yes, definitely.
This is another part of the story that I find interesting, to say the least, coincidental, if you will, that they would have a lot of the same belief systems in God and whatnot as the humans here on Earth also happen to have. I'm just saying it's a little coincidental. I'm not saying either way, you know, believe it or don't believe it, that's up to you guys. But I'm a little, I find it very intriguing.
Now, do they make any original statements other than those which are already to be found in the established religions of the world?
Oh, yes, they do say, tell us about the certain dangers. For instance, they spoke about some time ago the large crack in the just beneath the surface of the earth, which stretches for several 100 miles from the middle of Siberia right the way down through the center of Australia. And they say that if we opened up this fault line in the Earth's surface, we are liable to have tilt on the axis of the Earth as a result of this.
How might we open up this fault line?
Through atomic experimentation and so on.
I would once again like to mention, like I did earlier, that there was a lot of atomic experimentation and explosions going off around the Bikini Atoll area at that time in history.
And presumably if the fault line goes from Siberia to the middle of Australia, most of the Pacific Ocean would disappear into the fault.
Yes, and then you'd get the tremendous reaction between hundreds of millions of gallons of water and the shall we say, gases under pressure which are held in the center of the Earth.
Well, let's thank goodness that didn't quite happen, right? And all of the craziness of 2020, at least the Earth itself is still in one whole piece for what it may be, right? Our sanity may not be, but the Earth still is.
Now, when you get visitations, physical visitations, you see the people and they talk to you in an ordinary voice in an ordinary way.
Oh, yes. The voice isn't quite ordinary, though. It has a certain peculiar quality which I can best describe as a quality of running water.
Now, when the messages come to you as in your capacity that you've described as mental channel number 1, you go into trance and the voice speaks through you. Is that right?
Yes, the intelligence speaks through me. In other words, I gain a telepathic rapport with the intelligence from another planet, and he conveys his message to me.
Using your vocal cords?
Yes, oh yes.
And of course, as we know, that is the pure definition of channeled information, something else speaking through the human body using the vocal cords. Where that comes from, once again, that can be either here nor there. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just a little more than on the fence about this, quote, religion.
Many people are clearly going to draw the conclusion that you are sincerely but absolutely deluded in all you say, that this isn't true, that you believe it, and it is a sheer delusion. What is your own answer to that? How do you know that this is not, in fact, a projection of your own imagination?
Because I've met these people. My mother has met physically one of the people who has been speaking through me for a number of years. And he told my mother this fact, that he has been speaking virtually through me.
I know because I know. That's an interesting defense. However, as much as I really want to ridicule and laugh at that, I must point out that is what a lot of us Mandela-affected people say. I know because I know what it was. Now, luckily, there's a lot of other people in the Mandela effect that actually agree with each other that, yes, that is the way something was. So that might not even be a fair example, but again, I'm just a little on the fence about Mr. George King here and his experience as a channeler, from taxi driver to spiritual guru overnight. But perhaps it has changed as we've gone forward, and as the Aetherius Society has grown, perhaps their beliefs have become a little more normal than space alien God beliefs, and I say that in the most loving way. But we're in the second half. We're going to go ahead and check out what the modern day Aetherius Society is up to. All that and more coming up here in just a couple minutes, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you're listening to DarkWolf's Den Radio Show exclusively on Rip'n Common Sense Radio Network, the Rip'n Rabbit Hole. We've got to go ahead and take a network break right here, and we'll be right back with the second half of the DarkWolf's Den Show after these messages. Don't you touch that dial. That's right.
We got to stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
You're just not going to find that howl anywhere else. Hi, everyone. It's AJ, the Rip'n Rabbit. Are you enjoying the DarkWolf's Den Radio Show tonight? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, bringing you the very best of common sense radio, the Rip'n Rabbit Hole. I'll be back again tomorrow night, Friday, August 20th, with a look at blame. We're going to dive deep down the rabbit hole and explore the fascinating world of blame, how it's used today by us, how we blame others, and, more important, how blame is used against us. That's tomorrow night, Friday, August 20th. Starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as all shows do. Then Saturday night, we're going to explore guilt. Same principle, how we use guilt, and more important, how guilt is used against us in 2021. That's going to be Saturday night, August 21st, and then we'll end out the weekend right together with you with a look at pride. Now, I'm not talking about that pride, the rainbow kind of pride. I'm talking about how pride goes before the fall. It's going to be a great way to end the weekend out together with you. Sunday, August 22nd. Come along with me and enjoy the journey. If you haven't done so already, journey on over to our website, ripnrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There you can sign up for an exclusive backstage pass. It's absolutely free to do so, and it always will be, but it's going to give you unfiltered access down the rabbit hole where the conversation continues after the show. We have our own privatized social media network there. It's great to see Propagate This Light posting the Mandela Effect, our thoughts and understanding, a conversation with My Life DIY, all about the Mandela Effect. So you definitely want to check that out, as well as all the interesting groups that we have. And you have the ability to create your own group or share your own post, newsworthy stuff that you feel like sharing there in our community-generated press. It's simple, it's fun, it's free to do. RippinRabbitHole.com. We'll return you back to tonight's Jerry Hicks and the DarkWolf's Den Radio Show topic of the Aetherius Society, Thursday, August 19th, 2021. Can you believe, my oh my, how time does fly? You're listening to the Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole.
Re-establishing multiverse connection.
Hello.
Connection re-established and secure.
This is My Life DIY, and
Hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to DarkWolf's Den.
To DarkWolf's Den Show on Rippin' Common Sense Radio.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the DarkWolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and welcome back to the second half of the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, August 19th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have been discussing the Aetherius Society. In the first half, we heard from Mr. George King himself, the founder of the Aetherius Society, and the information given to him from entities of a cosmic origin, apparently, on God and the entire religion that has become the Aetherius Society. I want to know, ladies and gentlemen, so far from what you've heard, would you join this religion? Would you become an Aetherius Society member? Put a 1 in the chat room if you would join up with this religion from what you've heard so far. I'm going to be honest. When I first found the Mormon religion, one of the first things they said is, we believe in life on other planets. They had me hooked in the beginning. I liked the concept of that, a religion that believed in that. So if you're into what you've heard so far, go ahead and put a 1 in the chat room if you would join the Aetherius Society. Put a 2 in the chat room if there's no way you're good with the religion you've got. Or put a 3 in the chat room if you're kind of on the fence. It's tempting, but you've not really decided yet that's what you would like to do. And while you guys are going ahead and putting those answers in the chat, we're going to get into what the modern day Aetherius Society has been doing.
The concept of aliens in popular culture is largely limited to little green probing perverts from sci-fi movies. However, there are a group of men and women operating out of a church in Parsons Green, London, who take the matter very seriously. They are the Aetherius Society, and to them, aliens are gods. The society was founded in 1955 by a London cabbie called Dr. George King, after he claimed to come into contact with aliens. A Venus-based alien master named Aetherius would communicate wisdom and guidance for mankind through his voice box.
I am known as Aetherius.
Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, also aliens, sent down to better the human race.
So Jesus, Gandhi, and Buddha were all aliens that were sent to Earth to better the human race, to teach these spiritual systems to mankind. Okay, that's an interesting belief, but we knew they believed that already, right? And speaking of believe, let's see what you guys believe about becoming a member of this church. JoJo's says 111. Yes, open the door for her and let her in. She wants to become a member. Helen Skygazer over in the DarkWolf's Den chat says 2. No, thank you. Terry Taggart, no interest whatsoever. Deranged Lunatic, aka DL, says 7. So he's doubly unsure, but probably would. Earth Daughter says 4. Yikes, I missed a bunch. 4, I'm not quite sure what that means. That is probably a unsure with a yes, probably. As good as any explanation, says JoJo's. Over in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole chat, we've got AJ coming in with a 3. Waters of Life coming in with a 2. I'm a free spirit. She said no thank you with a 2. AJ the Rippin' Rabbit with a 3.2. Yeah, unsure, maybe, possibly, probably. Well, wait, 2.3. No, probably not, but still pretty unsure, I guess. Sandy B with the 3, not sure. Jury is still out. Man, Danny Moss is not a religion for me. The numbers again, My Life DIY, yes, you would love to join this society. 2, no, you would not. And 3, you're not entirely sure. Let's start our own society. The number 1 rule is love, says Waters of Life. Hey, not opposed to that idea at all, as long as you're spreading love. But then again, we're going to get to some more information kind of related to that here in just a moment that I've found. But a lot of people across the board. Only JoJo said, yeah, open the door and let me in. I want to be there right now.
I'm honoured to be invited to Operation Prayer Power, their annual pilgrimage to Holston Down in Devon. This is where Jesus first came down in a spaceship from Venus.
Yep, you heard that right. So for those who were wondering, with Jesus being from another planet, where he was from, ladies and gentlemen, Jesus was from Venus. Which is really odd, because growing up, I was taught that men are from Mars, right? Women from Venus, men are from Mars. You guys remember that?
Can you tell me what the Aetherius Society does?
We send out energy from places like this to the world as a whole, for healing, for peace.
Which is always a positive thing when you're sending out good intentions, especially in a group setting, as we know from past episodes and work of people like Dr. Emoto, that intention does matter. So sending out positive intention, that's not a bad thing, right?
But we do it in cooperation with beings from other planets.
So the beings from other planets are that concerned with Earth. Well, I mean, that's what some of the abduction case files do kind of lead to, but they actually join in prayer with us. Interesting.
Right, so aliens.
If you like, yes. A number of the great spiritual figures of history, Buddha, Sri Krishna, were from other planets.
Is there someone alive now that you think can have these powers?
One person that I've met that I believe came from another planet was Dr. King.
And he is referencing the same Dr. George King that we heard in the first half.
Right. Anyone else?
It's few and far between, but Gandhi's a recent one.
Obama?
I've got no reason to believe that whatsoever, no.
So, ladies and gentlemen, according to the Aetherius Society, Obama is not an alien or a spiritual master.
So over here, we're going to place the battery on the tripod down there, and then you'll have what we call a prayer team, and they'll come down in groups of 3. They'll be putting the energy in the battery, and all the others will be gathered around sending mantra through that person praying into the battery.
So I know that sounds really wild, and I've been ridiculing just a little bit on this, but let's be honest. Once again, going back to Dr. Emoto's work, And the idea that water itself has memory and can memorize intention and actually be affected by intention, it's not completely far-fetched to think the idea that intention can be stored in a battery of some type. I've never seen it myself. Once again, there are plenty of videos on YouTube you can look at. You can be your own judge on this, but I don't see it as being as far-fetched as it really sounds.
Politics isn't really working, but this does work because it changes the consciousness of humanity, and then you won't have the poverty, the war, and all the rest of it.
Well, sounds great. Can't wait.
That's what we're working for?
Yep, hope it works.
I don't know how effective they've been, but if they have been as effective as they claim that they have been, we could really, really use some positive shifted energy in today's world.
It was finally time to begin the operation. The battery was unsheathed, the prayer teams prepped, and the prayer assessors pen in hand.
So here we are, and it, of course, is the 59th anniversary today, isn't it, of the charging of this wonderful, wonderful holy mountain. Has everybody been given the mantra that we're going to use today? Good, okay, that's great. So why don't we prepare ourselves then to become channels and tune in to this wonderful, wonderful power in this place, put here by the beloved Master Jesus himself.
And if you would like to see the entire ceremony, it is available once again on YouTube. But what do you guys think? Do you think that this could actually work, that the intentions all can be channeled through each other into a battery to help mankind? Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat room if you believe that's possible. Put a 2 in the chat room if you think that's a bit far-fetched for you. Before we close out with this episode, I would like to include one more thing. They have a very interesting belief when it comes to life after death.
Please explain your theory or your teachings of life after death. Do we pass on to other planets, or do we pass on to a different level on this planet?
I'll answer that because I've studied this subject for about 40 years. May I just say this, and I'm not boasting, please, that anybody who has the academic degrees that I have earned is not quite a fool. When he studies something, he studies it, and very thoroughly.
And I can definitely respect a researcher like that. As myself, I am also a researcher like such. Given a topic, I will research it very, very thoroughly. But let's see what you guys said over in the chat about whether or not you believe that the energy and intentions could be stored in a battery and later be released to the earth. What do you guys say over there? Remember, it was 1 if you agreed, 2 if you think that's a little bit far-fetched. Let's see what we have over here in the chat. General Sorrow over in the YouTube DarkWolf's Den chat says 2. So no, don't think that could be a possibility. Helen Skygazer the Frosty says 1. Absolutely, it could be stored in a battery and used later. Why not, right? Deranged Lunatic, aka DL, has the emoji of I really don't know, the shrugging shoulders emoji. Earth Daughter with a 3 over in the DarkWolf's Den Show chat with an unsure. Then over in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole chat tonight, we have ones coming from My Life DIY. Definitely that could be a thing. As well as National Memorial Gardens agreeing with My Life, that could definitely be a thing, a battery that could charge intention and send it out across the planet. Waters of Life says, really not sure. I'm going to go with the 3. That's fair, not sure. JoJo's with the 3 over in the DarkWolf's Den Show chat again, and Darius Munchausen following up with the 3 also with the unsure. So definitely not a lot of no's. I expected a lot more no's on this. We only really had about 1 no, and everybody else said, well, possibly it could be a thing. So, hey, you guys might be right. You never ever know, right?
Definitely believe in the truth of reincarnation. And I believe that this particular planet is a classroom in a universal college. And what people come here in order to gain experience. Very few people gain the experience that they should gain in this classroom. Very, very few. There are very, very few adepts living on Earth, in Earth physical bodies, repeat, in Earth physical bodies at the moment. Those people who have not reached the stage of minimum stage of adeptship must return to this classroom again in a future life.
And I can kind of back that idea with the concept that you can't learn all the lessons of the world in one lifetime. I kind of agree with the reincarnation concept myself, but what do you guys think? Do you think the Aetherius Society is a religion that you would be interested in? Is it something you would look into, a UFO cult? Okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not saying it's a UFO cult. I'm saying when I typed that into Google, that's when this came up. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, in the end, all you can do is look at the evidence, apply a little common sense, and you be the judge. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, August 19th, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing, but don't you worry, the weekend fun has only just begun. That's right. Make sure you come back to the Rippin' Rabbit Hole YouTube on Friday, August 20th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, to get another fresh, brand new episode of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show starring our buddy AJ the Rippin' Rabbit. That's right. On Friday, he's going to be talking about blame. Do you like to play the blame game? I know I don't care for it much, especially when it lands on me. AJ will be discussing a lot of aspects of blame on Friday, August 20th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All shows here on the network start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. And just like the show on Saturday, August 21st, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ's going to return to the airwaves with the discussion on guilt. That's right. Guilt is never a good feeling. It's never good to be guilty, and it's never good to cast false guilt upon someone else, right? It's a very, very tricky subject to cover, and one that I'm sure AJ will do an amazing job with on Saturday, August 21st, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, on the Rippin' Rabbit Hole Radio Network, therippinrabbithole.com. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Then on Sunday, August 22nd, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit will be back to round out the weekend right with one last episode for the week on Pride. That's right. Are you a proud person? Pride can be just as good a thing as it can be bad. Being proud of what you've done is a good thing. Having too much pride in a relationship might lead to problems, right? And AJ is going to discuss many aspects of pride on Sunday, August 22nd, 2021. Again, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. That is Friday blame, Saturday guilt, Sunday pride. 3 very incredibly important topics here on the RippinRabbitHole.com, the Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network. Speaking of the RippinRabbitHole.com, if you haven't already, make sure you hop on over there. That is RippinRabbithole.com. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hop on over and join us over there. And all the fun things we have to offer on that page. First, you want to make sure you sign up for your Backstage Pass. That special Backstage Pass is going to get you access to the rest of the fun stuff on the site. So you're just going to put your email in there, and that will get you an email once a week, every week, with all of the live show information for the upcoming week. All the Darkwolf's Dens and all the ripping rabbit holes that we'll be diving down all weekend long. And as well as that email, you'll have access to the Down the Rabbit Hole area over there. That is our exclusive social media area on the site. If you've got any information you would like to share with us and the rest of the rabbits, make sure you just drop it in the Down the Rabbit Hole area. Also, while you're over there, make sure you stop by the Backstage 24/7 Lounge, ladies and gentlemen, where I currently hold the championship belt for the Tuesday night videos. Haha, that's right. There is a picture I've got to get for you guys next week. My championship belt picture. I haven't quite been able to display it yet. My sincere apologies to Champion Sports Nation. It is absolutely amazing. He did a wonderful job on it. And, I will be back to show you guys that next Wednesday, August 27th, I want to say it is. Man, I didn't even plan on this. Let's get it. August 25th. Next Wednesday, I will show the championship picture of the Dark Wolf. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys have a great time over there on the rippinrabbithole.com, and come back for the rest of the weekend on Rippin' Common Sense Radio, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Chick Mandela Effect, Walt House, Michael Musco, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit, everyone involved in Rippin' Common Sense Radio, as well as Tom Bayless for this amazing music. Get it, Tom? Tom Bayless, ladies and gentlemen. If you're looking for a custom soundtrack for your next project, make sure you contact Red Shed Studios. Information in the description box below. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all these folks, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and you've been listening to the Darkwolf's Den Radio Show exclusively on Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. On behalf of all these folks, I hope you guys have a wonderful and amazing rest of the week, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay awake, but dare to dream. That's right. How? Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Things are better left unknown, and I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever Oh, what a widow, a peaceful spider. When the grass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the light. Is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion? I'm lost in the wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.